Hello and welcome to the Crafty Historian episode 8. I'm a little bit behind schedule this week. This was meant to go up last Friday, but you know how it goes. I was in the middle of essays. I'm still in the middle of essays, but also my laptop wasn't back. Laptop still isn't back, and I just couldn't put it off any longer. So yes, here I am. It is the 24th of February. My name is Rachel. You can find me on Ravelry as Rachel Ravenclaw and Instagram as Ravenclaw Rachel. If you ever feel like dropping me a line, I would be more than happy. I own an Etsy shop called McGlones, McLovelies, which you can find on Etsy and also on Facebook. Just at the top, I will be having an Etsy update on March the 1st, which I think is a Wednesday. So we'll see if that goes well. Who knows? And I think we should probably just jump straight in. So starting off with finished objects, I actually have 3, but 2 of them have already been gifted. One of them was another Cecilia cowl, so you've seen them before if you've been a watcher. They're just a super bulky scarf with a lovely diagonal pattern. And that was what one was done in red and given to my friend Sarah. And the second one was a little Weasley jumper ornament for my lovely friend Harry. Pictures for that are on my Ravelry. I'm trying to get hold of Sarah to see if she can take a picture with this cowl on, but with Sarah it's unpredictable, shall we say. But my third finished object comes with my lovely little co-host. Jane's jumper is finished. Yay! Jane's jumper, so this is a Weasley jumper-esque. I duplicate stitched the J on, and I took the basic pattern from a free pattern on Ravelry. Don't have it with me, but I will link it below or wherever I'm linking things. But yeah, Jane has a new jumper. It's a little bit big and baggy, but I think that was because I was holding the 4-ply double rather than using a DK. But with the Weasley jumper, it's meant to be a little bit oversized, so I'm not too bothered about that. But it knit up nice and quickly, and I can see myself making more things for her in the future. So she's just going to sit on my lap now. Now, moving quickly on to works in progress. Couple things that are still on the go. I've got my friend Beth's hat, which is just a 2x2 rib, DK on 3.75mm needles. This is where we're at now. I apologise for the lighting. It's grey and dismal in York today. It was worse yesterday. Storm Doris, yay! But yes, this is Beth's hat. It's going to be nice and stretchy. She wants it slouchy, so we're going for quite a while before we start the decreases. And then we're going to put a white pom-pom on top. So I got the majority of this done whilst I was watching the workshops for Whitman What My Hop. If you haven't seen my video, I will link that below, but go watch. It's basically a giant swing dance weekend that I did 2 weeks ago now, and it was lovely. But I knit this when I was feeling too ill to dance. So we're getting there. My second work in progress is finally another sock. Not for me though, this is for my friend Grace. Grace has been lovely whilst my laptop has been in the hospital. She's lent me her iPad so I can do my work on it. So these are going to be a nice thank you for her. as you can see, it's a self-striping wool. This is the Zigzag Magic colourway, and it's really robust. It's a 75%, 25%, 75% wool, 25% nylon, and it's really quite robust. It's got a good tooth to it. My friend Grace is the same size feet as me, so this is 56 stitches on 2.75mm needles. I always knit my socks on these because my fine motor skills aren't strong enough to go down smaller, but I like the effect that they come out with anyway. So I've just got the one, got my cuff, just a wrap and turn heel. My next thing I want to try, I think, is a slip stitch heel. I want to do a heel flap and gusset on the next pair of socks for me, or toe up. That's for later. So yes, we're gonna give that some love in the next couple of weeks too. My final work in progress has been my cozy memory blanket. I always get confused which way is that way around. So on this section I've only added this brown one here. This was one of the minis from the Cramped Hand, Betsy I think your name was, but it knit up absolutely beautiful, this variegated browns and tans. That was gorgeous. And I've got the foundation, that way, the foundation of this next section, which are 4 of Nora George's Order of the Phoenix colourways. So we've got Kingsley Shacklebolt, 12 Grenville Place, Creature and Battle of the Astronomy Tower. They go so well together, it makes me so happy. So I've got those, and then I'm currently knitting, because the same section like this, starting with this pink again, because the way I want my blanket to work is I want to have 4 quadrants, and the opposite quadrants are exactly the same, just twisted 180 degrees. Means I get the best use out of the minis that I have, and I don't have to constantly be on the search for more, although I am guilty of that too, so hang in for that. I have not added to my crochet this week, or not this week, the past 3 weeks, but that's fine. I was mainly waiting to finish off my final Cecilia so I could stitch that into it. So moving on to scrapbooking, because that's been making a comeback. I've been finding it so therapeutic to just sit down with my photos and scrapbook away. So project life wise, I've got week 2 of this term done as well. So I've got this lovely, I love these flowers, this washi tape. I don't know if you can see, it's got gold scallops on it. Fabulous. So this was week 2 of our term. My godmother took me to pancakes. So there. This was my dance performance group. We decided to be a bit silly. And this down here, you're getting lots of glare there, is a stall I had at Alcuin Refreshers Fair, and I made a fair bit of money from that, so that's really good. And it's just all falling out. So yes, my shop does go on tours, but it's only really like university stuff. So also on the back, because that was basically weekday and this was the weekend, because York holds a sort of monthly swing dance social called Shambles Shuffle, and I went this time. This is me and my friend Nick. So I've got some lovely photos from that. That was the Charleston stroll, and I've just put a sticker on saying "You're the best," but you can't really see the "you're the." And down here, beautiful candid shot, and that is me there dancing. I've also then got, on the Sunday we played Dungeons and Dragons for the first time. It was a learning curve. I think this is the perfect representation of how confused I was. If you can't tell, that is my head on the table. I was just so bemused. I didn't know what was going on half the time. But I had good fun, and I'm not going to knock it. I would try it again. This card, I love this one. So pretty, yet so simple. So yes, 2 sides done, and I do have the photos printed for weeks 3, 4, 5 and 6 as well. So it's going really well, and I've got no excuses that I don't have any photos to scrap. But speaking of all the photos I have, I've also been making a dent into my Harry Potter scrapbook. Starting with, I've done all the base layers for this, which is one of the first pages. This was the Christmas tree that welcomed us into the sort of atrium of Warner Brothers Studios, and I've tried to keep it pretty neutral with some lovely snowflakes. And then I just want to write something very simple. Where else did I go? The beauty of the way I do my mini albums is with washi tape is I can stick things down where I want them, and then I can pick and choose where or what I feel like scrapbooking each time I open it. This is it. So this is one I wanted to do first, and I knew I wanted. This is of me running at the trolley to platform 9 3/4, and I've just titled this "A Dream Come True." As you can see, I've kept it really simple, just a few stickers and stuff, but I really love how this turned out. Got this lovely little quotey thing here that says, "Which a woman thought to have magic powers, popularly depicted as wearing black with a pointed hat and flying on a broomstick." I'm wearing my Ravenclaw scarf here, and this really is, it was one of the best moments. And I love just, it felt like I was living out a dream. I love going to the Harry Potter studios anyway, but this is the first time I'd been when they'd had the train open, and it just gave that extra bit of magic. It was stunning. So yes, those are the ones I've got done in there so far. I've finally got my last photos printed, so now I can really get cracking. So yes, apart from that, I've doing a little bit of watercolouring. As I said, I've got a shop update on March the 1st, and I am trialling a new range of my watercolour cards. They seem to be going down quite well, and this one's going to be called The Ladies of Hogwarts. So I've got, there's only one of each at the moment, but if they go down well, I will make others in the future. And yeah, basically each of them are embodying a different person, different character from the world of Harry Potter, with their watercolour scarves in my own sort of style. So this is one I've got here. If you don't know who she is, shame on you. As you can see, we've got the spiky pink hair and her Hufflepuff scarf. Why, it must be Nymphadora Tonks. So I've only got one of her at the moment, but if you fancy her, check out the update March 1st, or send me a message and I can do you a custom one perhaps. So this is how they look, and yes, I've had lots of fun doing them, sort of encompassing these different characters. I'm really racing through this today, and I think that's because I really should be writing an essay, but who cares? I've been procrastinating all day. You may have noticed I've got this up here. That's one of my bed sheets because I did some washing instead of doing my essay. Random fact there. Anyway, so yes, that's what we're going for. In my Help Me segment today, I would like your suggestions whether or not I should, for my next pair of socks for me, attempt a heel flap and gusset for my heel or a toe up construction. I don't know which is going to be nicer or which is less complicated, but whichever you feel is going to be less of a learning curve. I want to ease myself into it basically because it's at that hectic point of term and we've got to be doing dissertation reading and things like that. So advice would be fabulous. On my wish list, I would quite like to start my cardigan. I think I showed you I had some lovely blue Harrop tweed. Was it Harrop tweed? No. It's a blue tweedy yarn. Might be Harrop tweed. I can't remember. But I got some yarn, some blue tweed yarn for Christmas that I want to knit a cardigan out of. And it is the end of February and I haven't cast it on yet. That's not good. So yes, that's what I'd like to be knitting, if only I had the time. Yeah, I'd like some more time, if possible. And then I did mention earlier that I wanted to make the most out of that I wanted to make the most out of my minis because I didn't want to be buying loads of minis. In my defence, these were both bought before January the 1st. They just took a while to get here. So technically, not Rachel of 2017 buying yarn. We'll keep telling ourselves that. So the first thing that came, use the crinkling, was one of Nora George's January mini skein set. I am in love with this peppermint colour. It looks stunning. So the colourways are Rum Punch, Macaron, Peppermint, Spring and Hyacinth. And these will be making their way into my blanket as soon as I can get around to winding them. I have to wind them the old-fashioned way, around my knees. So yeah, that may take a while. But then also, I got Kate Celine's December Harry Potter mini skeins. Now these aren't individually labelled, so I'm going to have to guess. I'm guessing this one's Golden Snitch. And that this one is Hedwig. These are Harry Potter's house colours. This must be Expecto Patronum, because this has to be Bertie Bott's Everflavour Bean. Aren't they stunning? And I can tell you they are so soft and squishy. I definitely think Bertie Bott's is my favourite. Look at all those different colours. But Kate was so lovely, she included a second one, and these colours are, these rich purples are my favourite colours in the world. I adore this. It's stunning. Absolutely stunning. So yes, I'm going to be kept busy for a little while with my lovely squishy yarn. So if you're only here to watch the crafty stuff, you're probably done now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've had a good time. And if you want to stay for some history, please do. And I will see you some point if you're leaving. But if you stayed, hello! I've got some good news. I got a first in my 100 Years War module. We're not going to mention what I got in the other one. It was... But I got a first in my 100 Years War one. So I'm really happy about that. It really motivated me to keep going. Sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough, but that sort of validation, nothing quite beats it. Not that I'm competitive at all, but I like to feel that joy that I am actually good enough. So this week, I've spoken a bit about Charlemagne before, so I'm going to not talk about him this week. I'm going to talk about my other module, Italy 1200 to 1400. I am currently writing my essay for this term for it, which is focusing on what factor economics played in the development of politics in the Italian peninsula, which is a very difficult question, and hopefully by voicing it to you, it will get it in my head and I will be able to write it. So the main crux of my essay focuses on two case studies of Florence and Naples. Florence was a typical northern city. It had to deal with a lot of trade because its surrounding countryside could not cope or provide the city with food for the entire year. So they were very good at exporting and refining made goods. As such, they developed a governmental system where they used guilds and representation in order to govern, because this was seen as more efficient, because the people making the decisions had experience of what worked and what didn't work in the sector. Makes sense. Basically, you're ruling by experts. It's a good theory. The point comes, though, when you put this into a bigger scale. My essay is expanding it out in each different paragraph. So the next paragraph is relating it to Naples. So you've got Florence exporting everything down to Naples, but also importing from Naples all of their grain and food. So Naples and the south are producing huge amounts of agriculture, but very little finished goods. And then you've got Florence in the north, very few raw goods, loads and loads of finished materials. So they basically do a trade. It looks like an economic alliance. But if you look at it in a wider context, you've got Charles of Anjou. Lovely man, not really. Actually, I don't know. No one really writes about his character. But you've got Charles of Anjou, who was made King of Sicily by Pope, but also made Imperial Vicar of Florence. So essentially, they owe loyalty to the same ruler. So what on the surface may seem like an economic advantage, in actual fact, the whole system is basically two territories working together. It's a lot more complicated because Charles didn't rule Florence individually, but you've got the idea then that this symbiotic relationship is symbiotic for a reason. They're basically looking up to the same person. So you've got that idea in there. We've also got the idea that history plays a part in the founding of different identities. So the northern half of Italy focuses more on the urban tradition of the Roman Empire. They're continuing that tradition by cultivating their cities. Southern half, much more agricultural. That's where they grew everything. It pretty much remains that way. So while in the north things are fragmenting because there are these strong cities, in the south it's much more easy to control because you've got a more simple rural workforce. You've also then got to consider what role conflict plays. And I personally think conflict plays a greater factor in how politics develop than economics do. But that's because I am not an economic historian. This idea of conflict we've got going through, I'm going to give you some nice history terms here. The Guelphs and the Ghibellines. So Guelphs are loyal to the Pope. Ghibellines are loyal to the Holy Roman Empire. I think that's the right way around. Sounds about right. And basically northern Italy fluctuated between these. The Holy Roman Emperor basically saw himself above God, above the Pope even. Everyone was below God, but the Holy Roman Emperor saw himself as divinely appointed. The Pope saw himself as superior to everything, and these sort of clashes help to generate the situations which cause other things to set into motion. So this Ghibelline conflict leads to the rise of the councils in Florence. It leads to the Pope asking Charles of Anjou to become King of Sicily, which in turn leads to the whole financial situation going on in the time period I'm studying. So I think, yes, economics are always, there under the surface. I find it much more interesting to look at this big picture stuff. And I would argue that without that conflict, the whole system of the alliances and the way they would have arisen would have been completely different. Whether or not I'm right, no matter. Whether or not I can write it down in a coherent manner, also another matter. So yes, this won't be edited the same way as it has been. It will be pretty much the same as the previous one. Log into YouTube and upload the video file because who knows what's happening with my laptop. I don't. Anyway, I should probably get going. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you again soon. Bye.